Hi, I'm Asha Sharma, Corporate Vice President of AI Platform at Microsoft. And every day, I get to work with teams that are pushing the boundary of what AI can do. We're helping developers, scientists, businesses, and people around the entire world use AI to unlock new possibilities. AI is changing the way we build, it's changing the way we create, and how we innovate. And as developers, you are at the heart of this transformation. Whether you're working on applications, optimizing workflows, or pushing the boundaries of what is possible, AI is no longer a future technology. It is here, it is right now, and it is shaping the way that we work and the way that we live. Now, the beauty of AI is that it's not just for researchers and scientists in a lab. It's actually for every single developer. From integrating AI-powered tools in your daily workflows to building the next generation of applications, AI is an amplifier of human potential, and the best part, the tools and models are available today to make it more accessible than ever before. So in this keynote, we're going to take you on a journey through AI for developers. You're going to hear from some of the brightest minds in the industry about why AI matters, how Python has been so foundational to AI's rise, the latest advancements in AI agents, and how we can all build AI responsibly. The opportunity is in front of us, and it's massive. As developers, you're not just coding, you're shaping the future. Whether you're just getting started with AI or you're already building with it, there has never been a better time to dive in. So, welcome to the Global AI Bootcamp 2025.
Thank you, Asha, for setting the stage for today's keynote. AI is transforming the way we build software, and as developers, we have a huge opportunity to be part of this revolution.
I'm Roland, and this is Sami, and we'll be your host as we travel to speak with some of the most influential voices in AI, exploring how it's shaping development, what's next, and how we can all get started.
Behind the scenes, our third board member and producer, making all of this possible, Genk, who's ensuring we capture every moment and bringing you the best conversations.
This keynote is part of the Global AI Community, an independent organization with over 85,000 members worldwide. Right now, all over the world, bootcamps are taking place in over 100 locations, just like this one. And together, we're reaching more than 250,000 people around the world.
Now, this is more than just an event, it's a movement. A global effort to help developers of all backgrounds to learn, build, and grow in AI. And today we're kicking things off with someone who knows exactly why developers need to embrace AI, Scott Hanselman.
Scott is a developer, educator, tech leader who's passionate about making AI accessible to everyone. So let's dive into why learning AI is essential for developers. Hi Scott, we're here with the Global AI Community at the Global AI Bootcamp. Could you please help us make sense of what's happening in the AI space?
I think it's getting a little out of control. I know that everyone's excited about AI, but I think it's a great opportunity at the AI Bootcamp for everyone to just chill out a little bit. You don't have to put AI on everything. Additionally, I think it's important for us to remember that AI sits on top of data science, on machine learning, on deep learning, on statistics itself. And while it feels like AI just came out last year and we should all pivot and run in the direction of AI, in fact, it's been around for a very long time, and there's a lot of really great experts, some of which we've collected today, that can put this stuff into context. So I'm excited about AI, but let's all just chill.
And during this keynote, we're coming from several different angles, and hopefully you can shed some light on the developer side of things. Why should they start learning AI today?
Well, I remember when I went from a black and white screen to a color screen, and I got syntax highlighting, and I was looking at code that wasn't all one color, and then I got autocomplete, and then I got IntelliSense, and now I've got spicy autocomplete because I've got GitHub Copilot that can help me as a developer, not just generate code, but better understand my code. I tend to use the Socratic method, and I interview GitHub Copilot as if it were an intern that was helping me with my code. Developers should think about what AI could do for them while they're writing code, what it can do for their DevOps experience while they're maintaining their sites, and then what it can do for their customers, because not everything needs a Copilot and not everything needs a chatbot, but little strategic uses of AI within an application can really make it a user's experience a lot better. And I think developers need to look at the full spectrum of things that GPTs can offer.
As the vice president of developer communities, you must talk to a lot of developers just feeling overwhelmed. Where should they start?
I think that's a great point. People are overwhelmed. People are worried about their jobs. People are worried about where they fit. And I think that you are smarter than the AI. We need to remember that this is an artificial intelligence. We are creative, we are intelligent, and we are in the driver's seat. So it's not going to be AI that takes your job. It's going to be some nameless, faceless suit out there in the world. And what we need to do is figure out how we can use AI to make our jobs better, easier, more fun, how we can reduce toil. That word toil is one that I've really been focusing on. Which parts of my job are boring and tedious? Before AI, I would automate a lot of those things by writing batch files and PowerShell scripts. Now I'm using AI to write batch files and PowerShell scripts to automate the most boring parts of my job so I can focus on the fun, creative stuff.
The role is constantly changing for developers. What are some practical things they can do to infuse AI?
Well, you mentioned how do they educate themselves? And I didn't answer that well because I feel like people need to know that there's a ton of free courseware. Like if you go to developer.microsoft.com/AI, right on the top there's 3 main links that point to MIT licensed open source GitHub repositories with full courses. You can do a course in a weekend, or you can have a full 26-week course that you could teach at the university level. And I think understanding at some depth how these things work. If you treat AI as a scary black box that you send strings to and strings come back, I think you're going to be unhappy as a developer. But if you understand what's really going on at the math level beneath, it'll help you better contextualize AI in your life and how you want to fit it into your work.
So that really fits into knowing that one level deeper you always talk about.
Yeah.
How can we make sure developers don't skip that step with a lot of things they do because those LLMs are way too smart?
That is a great point. They do feel smart. It is easy to be amazed when a parrot talks back and you go, wow, that parrot speaks English. That's amazing. But the parrot is only parroting back what it hears around them. For us to really understand that AIs learn from your data, and they are nothing without your data. So if your company does not have your data organized in a useful fashion, then your AI is going to produce garbage. And that's why remembering that the data that you have, the information that you have as a person, or the information that your company has collected in data and data lakes makes the AI better. Understanding that relationship and learning about that is going to make you a lot more effective as a developer.
Thank you so much for that developer angle for this keynote. Is there one last thing? What do we really need to start doing as developers?
I think we should also spend some time thinking about ethics and responsibility, and we should spend time looking at the work that real thinkers around sociology and psychology are thinking about AI. How we interact with them, whether or not we pretend that they are people or whether we realize that they are in fact tools. So don't just spend time teaching yourself the technical aspects of AI, also think about the ethical and the responsible AI things. And we've got resources on those as well.
That's a very good point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We just learned why AI is a must-learn for every developer and how it's reshaping the industry. But how did we get there? To understand the rise of AI, we need to talk about Python, the language at the heart of it all. And who better to guide us than the man who created Python himself, Guido van Rossum. Have you ever envisioned that Python would be as big as it is right now, with everything how it's used in the AI?
Never. Every time I realize it's grown another 10-20%, I'm surprised.
Were there anything particular for you that were built at that time that you thought it could become something big?
I didn't have any sort of major examples of things that had become big that I wanted to follow. I mean, remember, I started it in 1990, and the word open source had not been invented. There were like a few things that were released under a license that is now recognized as open source. And I did take that as an example, but just as an example for the license, not as an example for how successful I wanted Python to be. I just wanted to share it and I wanted to have fun developing it.
It's nothing small anymore, the language you created at that time. We see many different libraries like PyTorch and Scikit and TensorFlow and so on. Did you ever think about how that really changed the AI world?
No, the AI angle was a complete surprise to me. When I started Python in the early 90s, it was still in the middle of the AI winter, so AI was not on my mind at all. Although my main focus was still on professionals. I think the first tagline I ever had was something like fills the gap between C and shell.
Was there anything particular that you tried to focus on development to get it more accessible to everyone?
Making the language more accessible were a few bits of philosophy that I inherited from another language. And that was about making programming less complex, less complicated by, for example, using indentation instead of curly braces or begin-end blocks.
How did you get all that feedback? Was it from a couple of people, or was there more people involved to get it to where it is right now?
Oh, there's been a huge community. As soon as we open sourced it, my inbox started overflowing with feedback from people who sort of picked it up, managed to build it, and immediately saw the potential for their use cases.
Was there one particular package that you think of that's like, okay, this really changed Python into a data science language?
I think that must have been NumPy or its predecessor, Numeric Python, because that sort of suddenly gave Python an ability that it didn't natively have, which was sort of efficient representation of large arrays of numbers. For me, that sort of one big moment was when TensorFlow came out, which was produced by a famous Googler, Jeff Dean. And when I worked at Google, he had never given me the time of day because he was so important at Google and I was just a low individual contributor. And I didn't think that he or any of the other big Googlers cared much about Python because it was just a scripting language and all the important work was done in C++. So I was quite surprised and also felt vindicated that TensorFlow, even though it's still written in C++ and for good reasons, the user interface is actually you write scripts in Python.
So that was a proud moment.
That was a very proud moment when I saw that the first line of code on the TensorFlow docs was import TensorFlow.
I can imagine that.
Yeah.
Now, you started with something small, became quite big to what it is right now. There's many people who would like to follow your steps. What advice would you be able to give someone who wants to create their own language or even want to create just another application?
If you want to create an application, go for it. For people who want to create their own language, the standard recommendation is go take some rest and wait for the feeling to pass, because that sort of, it's unlikely to be successful, and even if it's not, it'll consume your life. On the other hand, if the feeling doesn't pass, go ahead and learn everything you need to learn from looking at other languages, how they're implemented, how they're used, what their syntax flaws are, because language designers all steal from each other.
Python is still your little baby, I would say. It's not a little one, I guess. And it will
grown
always
into Godzilla.
Well, and it will always follow you. We saw the number plate of your car. It also says Python, so it's really your thing. We're very happy with what you've set up at that time. And we thank you for your time today also.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Python's simplicity and power has made AI accessible to developers worldwide. And it's the foundation of many of the breakthroughs we see today. Now, one of the most exciting areas of AI is the rise of intelligent agents. AI systems that can think, act, and learn in real time. Now, to break this down, let's hear from Jennifer Marsman. She's the principal AI engineer in the office of the CTO at Microsoft. Jennifer, could you please explain to us what AI agents are and what they are doing?
Yes. So an AI agent is simply a software process that you can delegate a chunk of work to, much like you could to a human colleague. So if you think about scenarios like customer service and software development, we're seeing a lot of that where people are able to utilize agents for help and augment their own capabilities with this work. But we're still very much in the early days of agents. So we believe that in order for agents to reach their true potential, we need a more robust infrastructure surrounding them. So not only the core foundation models, but 3 key things, and that is memory, entitlements, and actions. So let me break those things down. By memory, I mean that these agents should have a context of not only the information that they need to solve the problem, but also information about previous interactions with the user. And that can lead to a more personalized and relevant experience. Then there's entitlements. Now, entitlements mean permissions. So if an agent is doing something on behalf of me, it should only have access to the things that I have read access to, and it should be able to only take actions that I have permissions to take. And then finally, there is the idea of actions. So if you have an agent that is, for instance, booking a restaurant reservation for you, you need to go beyond just the natural language capabilities of the model and actually call out to code. And so that's what tool use enables you to do with these agents.
Because of what new enhancements that we see or developments in the AI world are agents now so popular?
Well, I think that the capabilities of these foundation models continue to grow and expand and become even more powerful. And so what we see as a result of that is that now these foundation models are able to handle more complex, sophisticated tasks, and we're calling those reasoning models. And so what you see these agents now able to do is, instead of just calling a model and getting a response back within a few seconds, the model is given a little bit more time to ruminate on an answer and really walk through a process of chain of thought reasoning, and then be able to come up with answers to more complex questions. So it's empowered a whole new category of abilities to these agents.
You told us before already that you work with Fortune 100 companies in the office of the CTO. Any use case that you're really surprised of where AI agents were used?
The most exciting thing to me is actually the diversity of use cases that we've been able to do. There's been a number of things, from looking at ideas like fraud detection and financial services, to looking at the entertainment industry and things like planning vacations and things like that, to financial services, to healthcare, to retail and shopping. So there's really been a wide variety of use cases that we've seen.
How do you see the future of the use of AI agents in the day-to-day life?
Well, I actually had one of the most magical moments with one of the reasoning models. When I was doing early testing on a reasoning model, the O1 preview, the scenario that I tried was actually something that I was doing for myself in my personal life. I have 3 children, and they're all in different grades. One is in middle school, high school, and elementary school. And I was trying to sign them up for camps for the summer. And in my area, the camps are very complex. And so what I did is I actually wrote a prompt that described my 3 kids. Here are my 3 kids and what grade they're in and their interests. And then I threw that whole catalog, like the text of all of those summer camps, at the prompt and said, help me figure out, write me a matrix of each week of the summer by each kid and what camp they should be in. And it did it. And that was just this amazing moment, because that is a very, very complex constraint satisfaction problem where it had to keep track of a lot of nuanced detail. And the model was able to do that. And that was really exciting to see.
So we already see a lot of developers trying to build AI agents. What advice could you give them to bring it to the next level?
Well, there's 2 things I would say. The first thing is, instead of focusing on what an agent is or is not, really focus on what is the value that an agent could bring to you? What is the things that you could automate away, or the product value that you can give to your customers, or the way you can best serve others by creating a better service experience? I don't think we've actually hit the bottom of everything that we can do with just GPT 4.0. Like these foundation models have such amazing capabilities. Like the more you dig, the more things you play with, the more experimenting you do, the more you find like new capabilities that you wouldn't think they could do.
I think the word experimenting is probably the most important one as the advice.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, for that
Yes.
advice.
Yes, keep playing.
AI agents are transforming how we interact with technology, enabling smarter automation and more intuitive user experiences. But as AI systems grow more powerful, we must also ensure they remain fair, transparent, responsible. To explore this critical topic, let's hear from Sarah Bird. Hi Sarah, you lead the Responsible AI Initiative at Microsoft. We start with a big question. Why do you think responsible AI is such a critical element now in the entire AI landscape?
You say it's a big question, but I feel like it's actually a really easy question because who wants to use an AI system that they don't trust, right? We see the potential of AI to change how we do everything, right? How we communicate with other people, how we work, how we have fun. But those are important areas of our life. We're not going to want to use AI for that if we can't trust it to behave in the way we want, aligned with the things we care about. We need to make sure that it's secure, that it's safe, that it keeps our information private. And so I don't see how we get the exciting AI future if we don't figure out the responsible AI piece. We have to have the critical tools and technologies to make sure that we can build AI systems that we can control and that people trust with, good reason.
Of course, developers building these AI systems face many challenges. Do you have any insight in how to implement those amazing AI features responsibly in their systems?
Yeah, I think first, let me acknowledge that there are many challenges with generative AI, and not only many of them, but a really wide range. When this technology came onto the scene, we of course, cared about things that we've been talking about in responsible AI for a while, like, is the system fair? Is it stereotyping? But we also saw new types of risks, like does it produce copyright material that you don't want to be using in your downstream application? The systems are exposed to new types of attacks, like prompt injection attacks. And so with this much bigger range of things to be concerned about, and it's growing every day, in fact, we are seeing some of the newer technology. We have to be concerned, someday is this going to be able to produce formulas for chemical weapons? Is this something that can cause much bigger risk? And so with this kind of growing set of risk, it's really important that we have a plan when we're building an AI system to be able to both understand what risks are in the system, be able to build a system that is safe by design, and then also to be able to test that system so that you know that those mitigations you built in are actually effective. And then after you tested it and you feel like, okay, it's working and you want to ship it, you also need to monitor and figure out what's going on, right? Adversaries find new ways to use systems. Users find exciting new ways to use systems that maybe you didn't plan for, and so it's not behaving how you expected. And so we really look at this complete playbook, and that's something that we expect every developer is going to need to do if they're building with AI.
And that's such a valuable insight, because that has been the case, of course, with software, even without AI features, that we should really test and monitor and keep monitoring. And sometimes we forget with these cool new things that we also need to do these important aspects of AI.
I love that you said that, because I regularly joke when I'm talking to people that, the novel thing we've been doing to ship AI is test it, right? And obviously anyone in software engineering should be laughing, because it's not novel that we need to test systems. But to be honest, very few people who are building on top of AI were really testing at the level that's needed. And certainly when generative AI came onto the scene, we found that you need a lot more testing, because it's so powerful and it's so flexible. So you have a lot of control over how it behaves in terms of how you configure the meta prompt, how you configure safety systems, how you feed the data into the system. And so with all of that power and flexibility, it can behave very, very differently. And so you have to test it and you have to fine tune it to get to something that is really what you want to ship.
Developers are, of course, still learning how to develop these systems, how to implement AI. how do you suppose they can juggle the constant having to or able to be injecting new AI features with the other side and doing that responsibly in respect to ethics and constantly being under pressure of the business?
Yeah, I think this question is often posed as a trade-off. But if we go back kind of to what I was saying at the beginning, I don't think there is a real trade-off here, because if you're shipping a system without responsible AI, most people aren't even going to be comfortable to use it. And so, at Microsoft, we very much, in our own practice of this, view it as just part of shipping the AI system, right? That it's not complete until we've done the appropriate testing, until it's working the way that, we actually want it to behave. And so we've kind of gotten out of the mindset that this is a trade-off. Now, we recognize that the market's moving really quickly, and we also want to innovate very quickly. And so a lot of our investment is figuring out how we do all of the responsible AI practices at the speed in which AI is moving. And for example, one of the things we've built is what you would call kind of automated red teaming, or we call it safety evaluations. But this is taking the tests that we think are important and using AI to run those tests against systems and scale that up. And so we've got a robust testing system that just every team in the company can run. And so they don't all have to spend time investing in their own testing. They can start from what we've already built and customize it. And so a lot of our approach of making this not a trade-off is really figuring out how to build the right tools to scale it up, to make sure that everyone can use the same tool, and make sure we're just getting it right in one place and that people can build on top of that. And so we think, the same thing for our customers or for developers. I'm lucky to be at Microsoft, where we might have more responsible AI experts than probably any organization in the world. And that's a great privilege. And so we can invest a lot in this space, but not every organization can do that. And so our job is to build tools and technologies that other people can just use and build on top of, so that you don't have to start from scratch, so that it doesn't need to be a trade-off.
What would be your one tip for the developer?
Test your systems, right? We've always known that the best software practice is to test your systems. And with AI, you have to be more thoughtful and test for a wider range of things, but it's still the same thing. Test your systems.
So true. Thank you so much for being here and sharing all these valuable insights with us. And it was great having you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to see what everyone develops.
We've just heard from some of the top minds in AI about why this technology is transforming the way we build software, how Python has been foundational to its growth, and the latest advancements shaping the future. But here's the thing. Learning about AI isn't just for experts, it's for every developer, including you.
That's why we're so excited for you to take the next step at your local bootcamp. This is your chance to get hands-on, experiment with AI, collaborate with peers, and start building. Whether you're brand new to AI or already coding with it, there's something for everyone.
We also want to take a moment to say a huge thank you to all the local organizers who have made these bootcamps possible. Your dedication and effort are what makes this community so incredible.
And don't forget, make sure to request your badge and register on globalai.community. This is your gateway to staying connected, accessing more learning resources, and being part of a growing global network of AI enthusiasts and developers.
The future of AI isn't just being built in research labs. It's being built by developers like you, in communities all around the world. This bootcamp is your opportunity to explore, create, and be part of something bigger.
So let's get started. Dive in, ask questions, build something amazing, and most importantly, have fun. We can't wait to see what you create.
The next AI breakthrough could start right here with you. So join the community, claim your badge, and let's go.